Black Myth Wukong has a lot of potential to be one of the biggest game releases of 2024, but this game comes with a couple small concerns and very little information on the game itself. Only a handful of creators and gaming journalists have had the privilege of playing this, but they only got to play a couple of boss missions rather than actually playing the game. There's a couple of key points I want to bring up about the game before you consider purchasing it on August 19th. I'll also be giving you a little history lesson so you know where this game's roots lie, and hey, you might even be more interested in playing the game after knowing the lore. I know that I definitely was. This is editing sauce here, and I just realized that there is some gameplay of the in-between between the bosses, so just disregard anything that I say about there not being any visual gameplay of the in-between, because there is. I'm gonna show it in the video while I'm yapping, so just ignore that. First, we'll start with the genre argument of this game and the developer's history. The devs claim that this game is a mythological action RPG. They actually refuse to admit that their game is a Soulslike, which is, it's kind of funny. However, in the game, you've got campfire-like rest points where you light a little incense, and that's where you get to like level up and just chill out. A jug with healing potion that has a finite number of uses, like Estus Flask. Bosses and enemies that adapt to the player, souls, and Souls-like fighting mechanics throughout each demonstration of the trailer of the game. I guess what I'm saying is, who really cares what the game is labeled as, but it's pretty funny to see the devs' denial of this, even though it's so clearly shown in the game. You can tell that they want to be a name that is separate from the Souls-like genre, and there's nothing really wrong with that. That's not what's gonna make the game good or not, so it's kind of useless debating whether or not it's a Souls-like. Now we'll talk about actual gameplay a little bit more. One big concern I have is that the main reason why I believe people should be skeptical of this game despite all of the good news we've heard about it. If you haven't noticed yet, every single trailer or slight gameplay preview has consisted of Wukong fighting bosses. We don't really get to see the non-boss enemies in the game. We see a couple small ones in the middle of the boss fights or right before a boss fight, but we never see those actual small enemies. There is this one sequence where Wukong goes all parasite on what looks like monks, but right after that he's fighting a dragon. So the devs have yet to state what the in-between gameplay is like. What are you doing between these grand boss fights, and what kinds of enemies will you encounter along the way? We don't really get to see any inkling of the in-between gameplay except for a couple of sections where you fly around as a bug or run around as a wolf in the woods. These clips are cool, but still vague on what is actually happening. These are questions that remain unanswered, and the game's release is in a couple of days. Obviously, on this point alone, I would suggest waiting for the reviews to come out for the game and hold on to your money. You could watch my review even. Subscribe. Especially because we have another potentially great game coming out in a couple of weeks after Black Myth's release, Warhammer 2. I think the only reason why I'm considering Black Myth over Warhammer is because the lore of Black Myth is dope, and you'll be hearing about it towards the end of the video, trust me, so stick around. Let's talk about the developers of the game and their background before we talk more about the gameplay. Game Science is a Chinese game development studio where they have won multiple awards for their successful mobile games. I've never heard of their games before, mostly because I'm not a mobile gamer, because mobile gamers are weird, but maybe they were huge in China or something, I don't know. Anyway, when a developer tries to go from mobile development to AAA gaming, it usually ends badly. Let me explain. Mobile games survive on one thing: microtransactions and advertisements. And this model of creating a game usually leaks into the bigger games that these mobile game developers try to create, and eventually these games become something of a money farm. In other words, a gacha game. However, this game has not displayed any types of microtransactions at all, nor do I even really see how you could implement them. The playtesters of the game have also stated that they didn't see any way they could implement them at all, so like there's that. So what I want to believe is that this studio is using the money that they made from their mobile games to create a genuinely good project. I mean, they must know that if you put microtransactions and pay to win mechanics in a Souls-like game, there's gonna be a little bit of an outrage among gamers, or just a complete canceling of the studio publicly. So it's kind of up to the studio if they want to have a good reputation or a bad one. And since this is their first AAA title, only the game's release will tell. I think that the devs are actually creating a good game here. From the trailers to the short gameplay clips to the amazing cutscenes and unique creatures, I think this game is going to actually give us exactly what they're showing us. Then again, it being basically a Souls-like, the game has the potential of not being very successful. Like that Souls-like Pinocchio game, who even played that, bro? Nobody I know played that game, and I'm fully aware that it's a very good game, but that's the problem with the Souls-like genre. If it's not Dark Souls or Elden Ring, people are going to be disappointed in some way, since these games are the pinnacle of Souls-like gaming. I mean, they are Souls likes it, Dark Souls. I guess I think the Souls-like genre should just stay within the hands of From Software, but that's just my opinion. Copies of a successful game's formula is good to an extent, but it's not always the best decision, especially if you can't make a better game than what the genre is based off of. Oh yeah, let's bring up IGN real quick. Some disgruntled person at IGN decided to write an article that purposefully mistranslated another Chinese article, with the journalist from IGN saying that the studio is sexist, misogynistic, and has a bad work environment, yada yada yada. I suggest y'all just stop reading anything, literally anything, written by game journalists, because they are definitely not the most reliable source of information, and they tend to sway their opinions in favor of whoever's paying them. I think we all know this by now. You could read IGN or you could watch Chaboy. I won't filter anything. Subscribe. That's the beauty of YouTube gamers, I guess. Praise Angry Joe. Now, my prediction. From everything I've seen from the game so far, I think I can make a solid prediction on what will happen upon Wukong's release, and I'm going to make this prediction before I go more into what the actual gameplay is like in the game from what we have seen. I believe the game is going to be one of the top-selling games of the summer, and we'll be seeing non-stop TikTok clips of it, like those crackheads that fly around in the sky like an anime character in Elden Ring. Those videos are sick though, no hate, please make more. This said, I do believe that people are going to be disappointed in some way. That's kind of unavoidable. Since the game does not show any actual gameplay outside of a boss fight, it is very possible that the game could turn out a lot worse than we think, especially because this is Game Science's very first AAA title. Do I think the game will be bad? No. But do I think it will fail to reach the expectation of everyone that watches the trailers? Yes. I could be 100% wrong here though, but then again, I really think this game has a good chance of being amazing if what is shown on paper is completely true. The graphics are stunning, the art is amazing, it is based off a very good ancient Chinese myth and appears to have a solid foundation and a dedicated team. There is a part of me that doesn't want to purchase this game out of pure spite that Game Science is technically owned by Tencent. Sure, you guys know by now that Tencent isn't the most moral company. Spending money on this game indirectly supports that company, so for me personally, it's actually a very hard decision because I try my absolute best to not support immoral corporations, considering they're kind of ruining my country day by day. But the gamer itch is strong, man. I don't know if I can resist, I'll be honest, because I want to make a review on this game, so I guess I'm a piece of dung. More about the gameplay. Let's go through this quickly. We've got dodges, spells with a mana meter and cooldown timers. Time slows if you dodge or parry correctly. You can turn into a fucking bug. Actually, Wukong gets the ability to shapeshift into any creature he defeats, well, boss fights, so I should specify he transforms into bosses. Sick. After reading about the game as I write this script, I see that Wukong is going to be mostly a linear game with some explorable sequences. Not only can you transform into the previously defeated bosses, you can actually use their weapons. That's really cool. The transformation from previously defeated bosses comes with its own health bar and a time limit. The health bar that is damaged during your transformation does not actually affect Wukong's initial health bar. Sick. You got a meter called Might, and I guess this meter is what tells you how much time you've got to kick ass. One big aspect of the game that I absolutely love is that bosses not only have multiple phases, but these phases are not triggered by how low their health is, but how well the player is doing against the boss. I don't know about you, but having a boss make its own decisions on when to move to a more powerful phase is pretty scary to me, making every boss fight unpredictable, even if you fought that boss before and died to it. This takes the aspect of learning a boss's method of fighting from a Souls game and elevates it to a whole different level of complexity. I'm a little concerned about the linear aspect of this game. Games on rails are not really that enjoyable, but there are some exceptions to this, like Sekiro, for example. Sekiro was a sort of open world game, but the game had a very linear path and a very clear direction that you should follow. But in its linearity, I found secret passageways, hidden corridors, secret bosses, and much more in a space that I didn't think these kinds of things could be hidden in. This could very well be the route that Wukong is going, and if it is, then it'll be even harder to resist buying the game since Sekiro is such a classic title. I will admit one thing, I have played every single From Software game, every one, and I haven't beaten a single one. So if I purchase Wukong, there's a high chance I won't complete the game. ever. If you're like me in any way, be cautious with your purchase. Also, the game has a $400 edition, which I think is absolutely ludicrous, and they should be smited by Buddha himself for this outrageous pricing. You get a Wukong figure out of it. Like, bro, go to a hobby store in a couple months after the game releases and you'll probably find the same exact figure, if not a better one, for like 25 bucks. Please don't be a whale and buy extra editions of not only Wukong, just video games in general. Just buy the standard edition, man. Trust me. Premium editions are never worth it, and any in-game item that you get from purchasing these editions eventually will be available to everyone who purchased the standard edition. So you're not getting anything special here, man. Just don't do it. If you've stuck around until this point, good job. Now it's time for the history lesson and the great story of Wukong, so you have a perspective of what this game story is going to be about and what it's based off of. It's not going to follow this story exactly, but it's definitely fully based off of what I'm about to tell you. Gamers and lady gamers, I present to you a journey to the west. Some long time ago inside Mount Huagyo, I don't speak Chinese, that had some god rocks sitting on it. The rock said, I'm done with this shit, and gave birth to a magical stone monkey. First thing Mr. Monkey did was leap mountain to mountain, saying hello to all the cardinal directions: north, south, east, chest. Then he shot golden beams out of his eyes that reached the gods themselves. Sick. Two god homies who had some good hearing and sight went to go check out the monkey. After about 5 seconds of staring at him, they were like, whoa, monkey strong. They went back to the Jade Emperor and reported that, and Mr. Jade Emperor said, just a monkey, bro. And so the gods left to go chill in heaven. Then Monkey became Monkey King. Sick. Everything was chillin', but Monkey King wanted to be immortal, cause why not? And so with the wind to his back, Monkey Man rode on a cloud looking for immortality. Then Monkey King met an old dude who told him he could get that shit and said, bro, you gotta talk to the gods, but I'll put in a referral. After that, he officially named him Sun Wukong, or Sun Goku. That's right, this monkey is a Saiyan. Then bro offered to train him. Somehow, the monkey learned how to jump on clouds like they were trampolines. God started to see that Mr. Wukong was getting a little too rowdy down there, bouncing on all the clouds. And so, they tried to destroy him. It didn't work. Then the old dude teaches Wukong how to breathe immortality. He says, just breathe with one nostril, bro, trust me. What? After that, Wukong becomes slightly immortal, so long as he breathes the right way. Sometime after that, the old guy regretted his decision in teaching Mr. Wukong all of these things, simply because too much monkey poop was being thrown on the walls. So Wukong took his poop and left. Also, somehow, Wukong knows how to create monkeys from a single strand of his hair. Wild. Realizing that he wanted to keep his hands nice and supple, he traveled to a distant land to find a dragon wearing clothes, and that dragon gave him a staff called the Defiant Golden Hooped Rod. What? He could fit it in his ear. Gross. It could also grow as large as a mountain. OP. Then Wukong looked at a cloud one day and said, oh yeah, I forgot I wanted to be a god. I guess that made some demons mad, so they attacked him. Then he gave all those demons little spanks, and they joined his army. Then, one day Wukong's taking a nap. Two emissaries from the heavens, ordered by the Jade Emperor, went to steal his soul and send him to the underworld so they didn't have to deal with his shit anymore. But they also made a big mistake. They forgot he has a fucking staff in his ear. So he gave every demon in hell a nice spank and confronted the emissaries, in which the emissaries replied, sorry bro, we got the wrong Sun Wukong. What? Then he left the underworld pissed as ever. After that, the Jade Emperor god guy said, hey, join my council, become a god. Wukong says yes. And then he gets put on cow watch duty for eternity. Wukong gets mad, spanks all the cows, then leaves. He then claims himself as a god without the permission of gods. You go, king. For whatever reason, the gods said, let's give him a title so he'll calm down and have him watch the peaches of immortality. That's such a good idea. Wukong ate every single peach. Goated. Gods were mad. Wukong is super immortal now. They literally couldn't kill him, but they tried anyway. They sent their best John Wick assassin after him, but John Wick couldn't handle the monkey's fist. And out of nowhere, the father of Taoism himself comes and locks him inside of 8 trigrams like fucking Neji and says, yeah, this'll kill him. Bro just made bro more mad. Wukong escapes and gives the father of Taoism a sweet little kiss goodbye and spanks him as he did the cows. The gods are even more mad now. Silly little monkey. They said, screw it, summon Buddha himself. Buddha meets with Wukong and says, hey bro, if you can leap out of the palm of my hand, you'll be recognized as a god, and you'll be allowed to spank anyone you see fit, and no one will try to kill you anymore. Wukong accepts. With a passion for spanking, Wukong leaped, jumped, ran, and spanked his way to the edge of the universe. He believed he had finally escaped his grasp. He left some cute graffiti on a wall behind him, and then started to pee right on the spot. He meets back up with Buddha. Buddha says, bro, you just pissed on my fingertip. You never left my hands. So he traps Wukong inside of a mountain for 500 years as a form of therapy. RIP. 500 years later, he finally comes out of the mountain as a man named Tripitaka releases him and recruits him. Wukong says, "You my bro now." And so they were bros. Wukong gives up his mischief. Maybe the key to curing mental illness is 500 years of solitude inside of a rock. Take notes, people. They went on a mission together for Buddha, where they told scary ghost stories at a campfire, saw musicals, and sometimes maybe even kissed. They were on the journey to find Buddha's secret smut scripture before anyone else could read it. Buddha would be so embarrassed if they failed. Then they fought a dragon. Awesome. Then the dragon felt bad for eating Tripitaka's horse, so he turned into a horse that he could ride. Now he's a dragon horse. Then they met a pig man and a guy who really likes sand. They joined the crew. Wukong then finds the monks who were trying to read the smut. He stole it and delivered it to Buddha. Sandman, Piglet, Tripitaka, Horse Dragon, and Wukong all ascend to godhood. Sung Wukong went from being a silly monkey to being a Buddha to being a playable character in League of Legends. What a goat. That's about all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the app session and my prowess for explaining historical stories in utmost accuracy. Thank you all for watching. I hope I earned your subscription today. If you think I'm an idiot, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, till next time, peace.